SVR time, baby.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah, I've been waiting for this shit.
For real, dude, debating 2K games is like arguing about which piece of turd smells the worst. This, however, is going to be painful in the most beautiful way.
No bullshit, I'm scared but excited all at the same time. It's like ranking our favorite children, man. This shit's childhood.
We'll be sure to tread lightly as a lot of our YouTube viewers grew up with these games too. You can put your faith in us to rank these accordingly, fellow Johnny fucking Moxley enjoyers.
Roman, you're not supposed to break the fourth wall like that. But Johnny fucking Moxley is an absolute Chad. I can't argue with you there.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. He's my favorite YouTuber.
His videos are so fucking good.
You know what else is pretty good? The first SmackDown vs. Raw game, aka SVR 2005.
Now, I understand why some people at the time of its release were a little let down, considering this game really just felt like a less good version of Here Comes the Pain, but all in all, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a solid game. I mean, that engine is the best, so even if it is a bare-bones version of Here Comes the Pain with less options, I feel like it's kind of impossible to not have a good time playing it.
Plus, off of sheer respect alone, this game was the kickoff to an iconic franchise. It belongs in C tier at the very least, guys.
Wow, C tier? Honestly, I was going to go higher.
Believe me, Roman, it's tempting to give all of these S-tier rankings, but we need to be realistic here. Considering what's to come, this game isn't the best in the franchise, nor is it the worst. I think a middle-of-the-road C-tier ranking is pretty safe to start this list off.
The fact that Breaking Benjamin is on this soundtrack makes me want to put this shit in S tier, I'm not even gonna lie.
Firefly is a fucking banger, oh my god.
And polyamorous.
The entire soundtrack is just bangers, bro, honestly, but we gotta move on before we start overthinking shit. I think the key is to rank these fast and move on before we hurt our own feelings, not putting them all in S.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just move on quick.
Okay, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, what's the move?
I go with A tier. SVR 06 is the definition of a superior sequel. The gameplay is a tad more realistic with it being slowed down, but it's still the same engine as before, which means it's a guaranteed good time. This was also the game that introduced us to arguably the greatest mode in wrestling game history, GM mode.
Bro, honestly, fuck A tier. I'm going straight to S with this one. Once again, the soundtrack is litty as fuck, and the introduction to GM mode alone makes this worthy of S, if you ask me. Easily one of the strongest games in the franchise.
Yeah, I'm with you, Roman. SVR 06 is such a well-rounded game. It introduced so many new things, not only including GM mode, but buried alive matches, and my personal favorite, Fulfill Your Fantasy. Oh man, let's just say this game is what led to me becoming the titty master.
All the bitches know I got that dog in me, but Fulfill Your Fantasy is what turned me from a puppy to the big dog.
The first time my mom ever left me home alone, I instantly booted up my PS2 and played it. Greatest day of young Sethy Poo's life.
That shit is responsible for turning an entire generation of boys into men. I low-key play it still when Renee's not around. It still kind of tickles my fancy.
Jonathan David Good, you are in so much trouble,
God,
young
oh
man.
fuck.
Renee? What the? How'd you even get into this Discord server?
You left your phone with it open on the coffee table, you fucking idiot. There go your PS2 privileges just for that put SVR 06 in F tier.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Renee, come on, I was joking. Please don't take my PS2 away. I'll be a good boy, I promise.
Nope, throwing SVR 06 in the trash right now. Also, log off of Discord, you're being punished.
Renee, I hate to tell you he can't do that. We're making an SVR tier list and our loyal YouTube subscribers are waiting for this, so respectfully fuck off.
Yeah, Renee, go make yourself useful and go cook my boy Mox over here some dinner or some shit from your cookbook. He deserves it after this tier list. This shit is hard work, you wouldn't understand.
Oh, please, you really think he's gonna choose you two over me? I'm the one that satisfies his titty mastering needs. Now, John, turn the computer off and come watch me break the SVR 06 disc before I throw it away.
Bros before hoes, get kicked, banned, and locked out of my room without the SVR 06 disc so I can finish this tier list with the boys in peace, bitch.
Oh my god, you better not lock me out of here. Hey, you motherfucker.
Damn, he showed her.
Hell yeah, way to put her in her place, Mox.
There ain't a hoe on this planet I'll allow to badmouth SVR, not even my wife.
Who needs chicks anyways when you have the boys in wrestling games, am I right?
Facts on facts on facts. We must stay focused, my brothers. Forget D's hoes.
Consider them forgotten. Now, like the Chads we are, let's go ahead and put SVR 06 in S tier to stick it to the butthurt females who have a problem with Fulfill Your Fantasy.
You know what? Do it. For the greater good.
For the greater good.
For the greater good. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007.
S tier. Easiest S tier in the world.
Mox, bro, if Renee ain't fucking with this one, divorce that bitch.
Oh, don't worry. I let her know on the first date that if you aren't an avid SVR 07 enjoyer, this just ain't gonna work out between us.
The night I got Becky pregnant, I told her to come back to my place so we can SVR 07 and chill. And the rest is history.
Where do we even start with this fucking game? Everything about it is flawless. The gameplay feels like the most polished version of Here Comes the Pain we've ever gotten. Ultimate controls were added, GM mode is back, and better than ever. The soundtrack in this game might be the best soundtrack in any video game literally ever. And the graphical leap from 06 to 07 was breathtaking. The shit still somehow holds up today.
No bullshit, the Xbox 360 version of the game graphically still looks amazing to this day. One of the most beautiful wrestling games ever fucking made, especially for its time.
The season mode was the fucking best, too. I loved the ridiculous storylines like the it's magic story where Candice Michelle would shock you with her magic wand and turn you into a woman, or have you swap bodies with someone. Why can't we have fun stuff like this in the games nowadays, man?
Tell me why having a random locker room that you can customize was so cool. I love that it shows up in season mode, too. Even the stupid little things like this about the game are fun.
Speaking of the locker room, I love those match challenges that you could access at the bar. They purposely made them so fucking ridiculously hard that it made you want to complete them. It was like beat the streak mode from 2K14 7 years before its inception.
They did my boys Super Crazy and Psychosis dirty, naming their tag team match challenge against the Brothers of Destruction, Mexi Fools.
Mickey James versus the Great Khali was hilariously challenging.
It just felt like there was an abundance of things to do in this game, and it was all super, super fun. Great gameplay, great soundtrack, great game modes, and great graphics. This game was a complete and total home run.
I know everyone loves to talk about Here Comes the Pain and No Mercy as the best wrestling games ever, but SVR07 deserves to be in the conversation.
100%. I feel like when it's brought up, it's given the respect it deserves, and everyone regards it as a classic, but it's easily in the top 5 best ever, and it needs to be regarded as such.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 easily earns its spot at the top of S tier.
The cream of the crop of the SVR series.
Goated game.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2008.
Okay,
Well...
fuck.
You guys good?
Yeah, Seth just sounded like he wanted to say something.
No. Go ahead, Roman.
No, you first, bro.
Spit it out, one of you.
You know what? Why don't you enlighten us, Mox?
Yeah, let's hear your take, Jonathan.
Okay, I think SVR08 is a pretty solid game. It has yet another banger-ass soundtrack, tons of game modes, and a pretty decent roster. What the fuck? Why is nobody saying anything?
Go on, Roman. Say something, man.
Shut the fuck up, Seth. You say something, fucking bitch.
I just did so suck my cock.
You really are the epitome of a Weenie Hut Junior's regular. You know that, Seth?
Yeah? Well, you belong at Super Weenie Hut Juniors, you shit sniffer.
I'm gonna get the hash-slinging slasher to fucking murder you both if you don't shut the fuck up and talk about this game.
Fine. Okay, I'll just say it. I think SVR08 is the worst game in the franchise. This has nothing to do with the fact that it had the impossible task of following 07. This was the first year that they really started attempting to blend simulation with arcade styles in the gameplay, and it just didn't work. I respect them for trying to evolve and freshen up the gameplay to keep the games unique, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't that fun.
I can't believe I'm about to side with this fucking trout sniffer, but Seth is right. The gameplay in 08 just isn't good. Straight up. I realized that they were attempting to go for realism and sim around this time, but you could tell this was their first real whack at blending the two styles together. GM mode also was low-key ruined this year. Adding ECW to the mix was a bad idea. Now that there are 3 brands, there are less wrestlers per roster, and the default roster pool is so small that it leaves you with a ridiculously small roster to work with.
I mean, yeah, it's not a perfect game, but I think you guys are burying it a little much.
I don't hate the game, man. Believe me, it's just that this game really pales in comparison to any of the other games in the franchise.
We should consider ourselves lucky that SVR08 was considered as low as it got back in our day. Kids nowadays have it a lot worse, bro. I think we've just gotten so used to being fed mid-games that we have a newfound appreciation for these games the older we get. It doesn't mean it's that great, though. Mox, take off the nostalgia glasses and come on.
I mean, yeah, I'd be lying if I said the 24/7 mode in this was kind of whack. It was just the same cutscenes over and over again, but we can't really fault them for that. Apparently, Chris Benoit was going to play a pretty significant role in the mode, but due to the tragedy happening, they had to remove him from the game super late into development. Guess we'll just have to blame Benoit.
Who?
Chris Benoit.
Sethy Poo has no recollection of that?
Error 404.
Forgot I'm talking to Active E employees. Let's move on and put it in C tier.
No.
Nah, Mox, I'm sorry, but that shit's D tier. It's the worst game in the series, and it's not on the same tier as the original SVR.
Guys, no, don't make me do this.
Swallow the pill, Moxie boy. It's D tier.
D tier, Mox, drop it in.
Fuck, that hurt.
This is payback for not putting WWE 2K18 in S tier, fucking bitch.
Oh, hell no. We're not going back to the 2K18 debate from our WWE 2K tier list.
Nope, we're not. Ignoring and moving on immediately. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009.
SVR 09 is a decent game. It's definitely not one of the better SVRs, but it's not trash either. This game introduced Road to WrestleMania, which is a fucking blast. You can choose from so many different wrestlers, all equipped with their own custom story leading into WrestleMania, and it's like you get to play a career mode 5 or 6 times, but outside of that, I'm not gonna lie, this game doesn't have much to offer.
You said it, Seth. Road to WrestleMania was such a great addition to the games, but they removed GM mode, which was one of the worst attractions they've ever made to the series. The gameplay is definitely better this year, though. They put an emphasis on upgrading the tag team maneuvers specifically, and introduced hot tags, as well as being able to grab an opponent from the ropes in the corner as your partner chops him. I'd say this game was a small step forwards all around, but it's definitely a mid-tier SVR.
At least the soundtrack still bangs.
Yeah, they don't fucking miss with their soundtracks, do they?
Literally never.
Yeah, not much to say about this one. Solid game, but nothing mind-blowing. I'd go for C tier.
C tier sounds good.
Sure.
Okay, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010.
The first thing that comes to mind when I hear SVR 2010 is Jeff Hardy's fucking dope-ass character model. The shit was so drippy that motherfuckers tried to recreate it in the creation suite year after year, and it always ended up in the top row of most downloaded CAWs. Outside of that, this game is legitimately great. This is when they started to really get good at blending the sim and arcade styles, and the gameplay was a lot of fun. Road to WrestleMania is back again, and once again, it's a ton of fun. This year, you actually had the option to play as a created wrestler, which was super cool.
The creation suite was also starting to get really good in SVR 10. Things weren't so limited anymore, and Paint Tool was introduced to create more intricate designs for your CAW along with superstar threads.
And as per usual, soundtrack is fucking flames.
I feel like I could flip a car when Hero by Skillet hits.
I need a hero.
Save me now. So good.
I'm not gonna lie, these last few SVRs where it had a regular soundtrack mixed with wrestlers' themes was kind of weird, though. One minute I'm headbanging to Skillet, and then Maria's theme immediately follows it up out of nowhere.
Excuse me, sir, there will be no legs like that slander in this Discord server.
Legs like what? Oh, you are so dead.
Oh,
Ain't no fucking
just
way.
Great.
My life.
Ain't no fucking way. How in the hell did you get back in here?
It looks like someone forgot to block me. Also, you're sleeping on the couch tonight and never getting this pussy again. You understand, fool?
Renee, you are not welcome in our chat. This is for SVR enjoyers only. Plus, Mox can get with any girl he wants with the amount of SVR knowledge he has. Your tricks won't work on a Chad like him, so be gone, bitch.
You think his receding hairline is gonna scare the bitches away? You thought wrong, Renee.
Hey, yo, that rhyme. Don't hate the play, hate the game.
Bars!
Fine, I'll leave. You all suck. And John, I mean it, no more titty mastering sessions for you.
I don't fucking need tits. I need SmackDown vs. Raw. That's what I'm gonna master.
Got her ass, Mox. Talk that shit.
My heart is in pieces. Bye.
Get out of here.
Bye-bye.
Adios, bitch.
Christ.
Mox, block her immediately.
Yeah, we don't need any more of that shit.
Okay, she's blocked, thank God. Where were we?
I think we were discussing the significance of legs like that.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking banger, but as a part of the soundtrack, it is a little weird after getting hyped from all the butt rock tracks.
What the fuck, asshole? That was my point.
And I'm agreeing with you, you ballsack enthusiast. It's called reiterating.
Weenie Hut Juniors.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Roman.
Anyways, I think SVR 2010 is another really solid installment, and a game that's fun to come back to once in a while.
I'd say either A or B tier.
Same. I'm fine with either.
Not to discredit it, but I'd go with B tier. It's a step up from 2009, but it's not mind-blowing. Overall, very solid game, though. It's worth playing for sure.
Oh man, only one left.
The end of all our childhoods is upon us.
And here we are, folks. The end of the SmackDown vs. Raw series. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
SVR 2011 was the perfect send-off for the series. The gameplay is absolutely fantastic and endlessly fun. Such a good blend between simulation and arcade. This felt like the precursor to what WWE 2K14 would eventually become. Road to WrestleMania is not only back, but you can tell that they wanted to make it even bigger and better than ever before. They added free roam backstage, and you can interact with different wrestlers as you progress through storylines. Really good stuff.
It felt like from a gameplay standpoint, the series kind of fell on its ass in SVR 08. But each year since, they just kept coming back stronger and stronger with better gameplay than before. SVR 11 is no exception. The gameplay, like you said, Seth, is incredible and the best blend of sim and arcade we had seen up until that point. You could tell that they were listening to the people who complained about there being no more GM mode. Hence, this year is what introduced us to Universe mode. I'm not the biggest fan of Universe, but I give THQ credit for always trying to innovate and progress the games forwards without repeating themselves year after year like 2K does.
You can say that again. At least it was something new. The creation suite in this game is the best version of Create a Wrestler we had ever seen at the time, with no more color limitations or anything restrictive from the past games. Paint tool is still available, more clothing items were available, and for the first time it truly felt like the chains were off in terms of what you could create. The soundtrack, as generic as it is, still kind of goes hard, man. I don't care.
Yeah, so what if they were just generic new metal beats? Shit still sounded like it belonged in a wrestling game at least.
You could really tell that THQ was starting to lose money around this time. The fact that this was kind of the last time we had a semblance of a real soundtrack in a THQ wrestling game because they couldn't afford to license real songs is kind of sad looking back on it.
It really is, man.
I still think about what the WWE games would look like today if THQ never went bankrupt and had to sell the franchise to 2K all the time.
Literally one of the biggest what-ifs in video game history.
I'm just glad I gotta say I grew up in the THQ era, man. We really had it good.
Truer words have never been spoken. And what a way to go out, too. If you ask me, SVR 11 is an easy A tier.
Absolutely. Is it their absolute best work? I don't think so. But holy shit, is it great.
And such a tremendous fade off into the sunset for the SmackDown vs. Raw series. Started legendary, ended legendary. THQ are the GOATs, man.
Wow, we did it, boys. There it is. We really ranked the SVR games.
Honestly, I can't believe we actually did it.
Yeah, that wasn't nearly as painful as I thought it would be.
It was for me, just indirectly. I'm going to stop pretending to be a Sigma male Giga Chad for a moment. I'm never getting pussy again. This fucking sucks ass. I literally threw it away for SVR.
Doesn't matter, bro. As far as the streets are concerned, you are him for that.
Yeah, Mox, if there was ever a I am him moment, it was rejecting hoes for SVR. Doesn't get much more noble than that.
I kept my pride, but at what cost? I'm down bad now. I hope you're all happy. Yeah, I'm talking to the motherfucker staring at the screen with their mouth open watching this. I did this for you. I sacrificed my entire manhood for you. Goodbye now.
Poor Mox. I'm gonna go fuck the shit out of Becky now.
Cheers for not sleeping on the couch. He's fucked, bro. See ya.
Sethy Poo out.